from the podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. It's Grant's Rants Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown.
Let the ranting begin. It's that time again. It's the Real Housewives of New York City Rundown. Tonight, it's season 12, episode 17, back on the hump, okay? With joining me tonight, randomly Ronnie Jr., here to talk about the show. Welcome back to the podcast.
Grant, I get nervous doing your show, and that's to say I've done other projects, and some of them big, some of them small. But there's something very specific about your rants and Real Housewives of New York, so I'm on my A game. I will just say that. And yes, I'm a little nervous tonight.
Oh my God, please do not be. I'm half asleep. It's late.
Yeah, but you say it like it is. You're very Wendy Williams. You shoot straight from the hip, and so you really got to be assertive when you talk with the Grant's rant. So I'm just, I'm ready to party.
Hey,
Let's go.
Hey, I mean, you want the best of them, so I appreciate it. All right, I'll take it. Let's talk about this ridiculous show. It starts off with Ramona telling Dorinda that she needs to go to AA, and this could have been a bigger deal. For the first 5 minutes, it was big, and then it quickly went away. But to me, both of them are accusing each other of deflecting. You got two very flawed people here. I don't know whose side to take. I think, both of them have points. Ramona's crass in how she says it. Dorinda, I don't know if she needs to go to AA, but she needs to just address the elephant in the room. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love the way you said that. Each person, they would have a different switch that they would go hit,
Right.
They go for the jugular, but none of them actually made sense, but they always pulled their mic drop moment. I think the one to really worry about is not necessarily Ramona, because Ramona will always be Ramona, but Dorinda we've seen this throughout this season, like there is a way about her where if you hit her with that drunk talk, she goes a little bit in a challenging space. You could talk about damn near anything to Dorinda, and she's a tough girl. But that drunk talk really does hit the core. So maybe there's something to that and something to explore later on. Like, why does that hurt her so much? Why does that, cut deep? And it might be something to look at down the road.
Something, I wrote the same thing here. I said, Dorinda feels hurt and attacked. Those were her words. And I wrote, why? Why does she feel so triggered by this? What is this like? If someone came to me with that accusation of, Grant, you need to go to AA, I'd be like, you have no idea what you're talking about. F off. But right? I wouldn't feel hurt or attacked because there's no truth that I do not happen to have an alcohol problem.
So I think that we're both saying the same thing, that she there's some truth to it, because Dorinda's the type, and there's something later in the episode when her and Luann talk the second time, and I know we'll get there, but Dorinda, she's very, she will talk her way out of anything if it's about her daughter, if it's about her family, if it's about John, if it's about her looks, if it's about her age, if it's about the Berkshires. But for some reason, it's cutting deep. So there's something to it. She hasn't addressed it. It kind of reminds me of how she never addressed the situation with her late husband, and it kind of boiled. I think we're kind of dealing with the same thing. So I wish her well,
I wonder how the reunion is going to shake out when it comes to Dorinda. Let's talk about this moment, which is made me laugh, or at least a smile on my face, where Ramona claims that both her and Luann are the only normal ones in the group.
Oh my God, do we got a series on our hands when that is the commentary? And I say that with love because Luann, to me, on this episode, gave me everything I love about Luann, weird facial reactions, nerves. Luann is always good for nerves. She's good for being a bit corny, but we love it.
Adventurous.
Yeah, right. She rides a camel. Get back.
She played the volleyball game with the men, and I will say, Lou, you looked fantastic in that bathing suit.
Yeah, she looked like a volleyball player, to be quite honest. So I mean, everything made sense, and she's deliciously beautiful, but she's a bit cheesy. But we love it. We definitely love it. But no, for Ramona to be on the high ground, she and Luann have got it going on, and everyone else is just floundering. It's like, come on, Ramona. And I try so hard to find ways to defend Ramona because I know she's had a really rough season. But it speaks to who authentically she is.
Oh,
She's
please,
full of it.
yeah. She
And
reaps what she sows. I mean, she knows what she's doing. She didn't get as far as she did in the world, being that clueless and oblivious to how she behaves. She's got. I won't cut her too much slack. I just think, what an insult to Sonia. Her roommate on the trip, Sonia, really looks up to her as, a real sister in life. I mean, Sonia has her problems, but I don't think any of these women are displaying model behavior.
No, but it does tell you a lot about how Ramona thinks of herself. You could never go back and say that this is not her authentic opinion. Like, she really does believe her own hype. We have never said it. You know what I mean? We're never saying, oh my God, you have all this money, you're the 1%, or oh my God, you're beautiful. We never get a chance to. She says it before that,
Mm-hmm.
So at least if anything, she's consistent,
We got this really ugly side of Dorinda popping out again, where she's trying to deflect, riling up Luann, saying, I didn't go to jail. You went to jail, and I didn't get, what'd she say? I didn't break probation. She broke probation. Like, it's just got really ugly right to her face. I hate seeing this version of Dorinda. She's completely indefensible here. Luann, I'm tired of the arrest storyline. She did her time. She repaid her debt to society. I don't see the need, especially as a friend, to continue to throw that in someone's face like that. I don't think I could forgive that. I will applaud Luann for how she maneuvered drunk Dorinda.
Yeah, you said it best. I mean, she's undefensible in this situation. She calculated how much she drank, which therefore made it okay for her to say what she said. But it's like, no, Dorinda, we think you're tacky for doing that. She's vaping. She's counting how many drinks she has. She's kind of going to go side with Ramona, but then once she doesn't hear what she wants to hear, she's pissed at Ramona. She is a little bit all over the place. So, you said it, undefensible. And she's a good gal. We do love her, but it's a tough season, man, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. I inherently like Dorinda, but I mean, she's got some cleaning up to do at that reunion. I hope she brought a vacuum because she's got a lot of stuff to clean and organize. Just her image alone, I think she realizes that Dorinda's no dummy. She's pretty plugged in. So I'm hoping that she does the work. We'll see.
I feel like she's gonna cry. She's gonna do a lot of crying and apologizing, which is not a bad thing per se, but I think she's gonna do this whole I'm trying to be noble in each of the situations that arise, and she's gonna play it as like, oh, I really cared for the situation at hand, and then this is just how I handled it. I think that's her. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I feel like that's what we're going to see.
You can bet that she'll blame something on John. Oh, I just broke up with John, and John will somehow take the fall for some of this behavior because we're used to that. I don't know why, but that's what she'll. I bet I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Don't look at me when she says it because I'll laugh. But Sonia now, again, last week she claimed she wasn't drunk. Now this episode, she claims she only had one welcome drink, but it was this water pill that she took. I mean, I guess. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I don't know.
Well,
did she take a water pill when she was stepping on that mirrored glass tray?
Right. Well, what is it, man? I mean, Sonia is literally one of my favorites. I think I love Luann quite a bit. I loved Bethany while she was there, but I'm a heavy Sonia fanatic. I really am. But when I heard that as her defense, I'm just kind of like, cut the crap, what is it really? Because first of all, you always have gas, but then it's this, but then you have a surgery after the filming of the show, but then I always come back to it's these damn antidepressants, there's just so much to her story. But the one good thing is, as long as she's okay, I feel like I'm okay with it. I don't think she's abusing anything. And so what? If you get 3 sheets to the wind, enjoy it. But the water pill, we don't buy it, Sonia. We just don't buy it.
Sonia's interview looks look great in this episode. I want to point out this one with the pink look. She was in pink.
Oh, yeah.
She really looked like somebody helped her out. She got it together. Her quarantine interview, I'm here for it. I think she looks good.
Yeah, she gives a good glow up. And, maybe
does.
her stories are the truth because the fact that, she always is sober the next morning, as drunk as she shows on the show, you would think she'd be a little more trash, but every time, I mean, we've seen it all season.
It's
She just
truly
kind of,
incredible. It's incredible.
yeah,
The bounce back is like nothing I've ever seen, especially of a woman of a particular age, to just get up the next day and participate in all the day's events. We've said it now on this podcast a couple times when it comes to this drinking behavior. It's incredible. I don't know. Do they just pump these women with like IVs? Like, just like, no, we're on a production budget. You're riding that camel and you're getting on the camel at 2:00 today. So here's your IV.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know this, but it seems like I applaud them if it's all natural, because I have no idea.
I'd been real mad. I would have been real like hungover. You know, when you get mad when you're hungover, I would have been in that space. Like, I ain't doing this damn camel, but
Yeah.
she tried it. So, I mean, you got to applaud all the ladies really, except for Ramona, who didn't try it, but you know, that's her.
Yeah. At this point, it's the next day in the episode. Ramona is pouring out of some bathing suit, meaning the boobs are just all the way out.
Did you notice that? I was a little shocked. I was like, why have I never seen this situation before?
It was all I could help but notice. It was all I could see.
I've never in my, what is it, how many seasons, 200th episodes, ever clocked her for like that voluptuousness.
Yeah. Right. Well, she's very fake emotional after hearing about that she upset Dorinda. And she was, with Lou at this point. Ramona feels that Dorinda gets a free pass with a lot of these things, which, part of that is because these women really are quick to forgive or quick to say, let's move on, which I love and is a great thing that other cities should clock and do themselves. I like that we can keep it moving. But yeah, I mean, Dorinda, does she get a free pass? What do you think?
Does Dorinda get a free pass? Well, here's the thing. If you say that someone gets a free pass, you got to own that. You can't come back later on,
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Good point.
If you're going to, that's what this group likes to do. They like to do a very like, oh, we're just going to move beyond it. But then they still hold that resentment. And that I don't like. Does Dorinda get a free pass? You know what? I don't have an answer, Grant.
Yeah, I don't really either.
It's hard to tell how severe it was,
Right. And the stuff that we don't know, we only see so much, but I mean, it's looking that way if we had to round up. But speaking of like just being so quick to move on, the same thing happens here with Ramona and Leah. They want to talk. Ramona holds Leah to this higher standard, and she points out, and this is what I noticed here. Ramona says that I asked you at the party to put your 30-year-old self away, which says everything. It's all about youth for this one. It's not like, hey, can you be a little more conservative, or just like I want you to watch your behavior. No, it's about her age, and that I can see right through her. I know just the type.
Well, yeah, Ramona's one of these people. If you let her talk, she'll actually give you what the real issue is. She'll say something else.
She'll tell you.
Once you let her go,
Yeah, she'll tell you. It's similar to the president, I think. If you let him go, you'll know where he's coming from.
Let him unravel.
Yeah.
I mean, there's parts of me, Grant, that think that was actually one of, I guess the bar's so low, but that was one of Ramona's best forms of communication. Although we have to credit Leah, because it was tough, because Ramona was trying to give this apology, but even when she did the apology, it was like, you know how condescending it is to say, oh, I just expected so much from you. I thought more of you. And so you kind of like let me down, which was the problem. I mean, in reality, at that point, Leah definitely could have been like, you know what, screw, this ain't a real apology. But you got to give Leah, and I guess Ramona too, a good compliment, because they kind of were both over it, and they both did express some stuff. I am really glad that Leah at least got back at her by saying, listen, I mean, this is what it is, but don't say stuff about, my bipolar situation across your friends on the Upper East Side. So I'm glad both points of view were at least exposed or spoken about.
Right. Ramona did apologize, but I needed her to actually apologize for that comment about the bipolar diagnosis and all that, because that was way out of line. I mean,
it really was.
That I need specifics and an apology, but I think Leah knows. Like, she even said it. She's like, "We're just gonna have a reset." Like, sure. but it's not good. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. There are rumors that both Leah and Ramona made up at the reunion, but I don't know this for a fact. So we shall see. But I think it's going to get worse before it gets better with these two, because we've seen a lot of this play out on social media, right? I mean, Leah and Dorinda have been pretty vicious towards Ramona, especially Dorinda even called her Corona Singer.
15 minutes.
So it's bad.
Do you, Grant, have any defense for Ramona, or do you just think she's been having a really terrible season? Do you have any bone in your body that's that still likes her, or is she just actually this ridiculous person?
Ramona is essential to the show, and I know people are just getting ready to hit that pause button to tune out, but she's essential to the show, and just for the fact that she's just authentic, and it's bad, but it's real. And you can't produce someone like Ramona where there's other housewives in other cities, you can practically see the script. So I think a lot of just bear with me if those who disagree, just look at what's happened this season, and it's all been revolving around Ramona and her misdeeds, misspeaking, all these things. So she provides a lot. Does that make her a great person? No.
Yeah, I almost feel like next season, and I know Elise was essentially her friend, but I almost hope next season, if Ramona comes back, we bring another gal that's in the same caliber as Ramona. Because I try to figure out how this is going to play out. Because I'll tell you one thing, I don't want to see this next season. I don't want to see pretentious Ramona and all these other gals that don't like her. They're just two different kinds of people, and that's allowed in life, is to have two different types of people. But I think the best bet for the next season is to get somebody who travels in that posh world of Ramona, who kind of is competing with her. That might be kind of cool for next season. I had been thinking about what I want to see as far as a new cast.
A Ramona adversary. I don't know how happy she'd be with that, but
it's kind of what happened with. Yeah, it's kind of what happened with Elise, but somebody who's a little bit more cares about all those things she cares about, right. And if they go toe-to-toe, I am all for it.
I forgot about Elise. I guess she didn't make the cut on the trip, so that's it for her. We left her at the birthday party, and that was it.
Yeah, which, if I know you, and I think I do, you don't like to be introduced to a character, yet then she doesn't come on the trip. It's kind of like you tease us with Barbara, although Barbara did go to Florida, and then you don't give her a reunion. You don't, or wait, no, Barbara was at the reunion.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, no, I mean, they dropped Barbara, never to be heard from again, who I actually really liked. And I thought she had a real element to the show. I don't know how else to put it other than just she wasn't put on. She didn't need the show. She was already successful. I liked her a lot. And I think the general consensus is maybe people didn't love her, but they liked her, where people don't even know who Elise is. But that's neither here nor there at this point. Because Elise is a non-factor, I guess, at this point. So thanks for that, Bravo. What else happened here? The camel riding happened. Those camels looked huge. They even said it on the show, and forgive my ignorance, but I never related the two, Mexico and camels. I just never thought that. What's the correlation?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's on a touristy vibe. I mean, I know I've been in Cabo, and there were camels to ride or whatnot. I don't know the exact terminology of what's supposed to be and what's more of a touristy thing. I don't know that specifically, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, they reminded them of going on the camels in Marrakesh, which I actually watched in the beginning of quarantine, that trip, which was a really good time with Alex. I believe that was when they were getting their henna tattoos, and Alex stormed down the stairs. Remember the water buffalo? Was that a buffalo?
Yeah, those flashbacks did it. Who was on that? That was when Cindy kind of came into the fold, I think, as well.
Yes.
It's hard to remember all the casting, but I think that's who was there as well.
Yeah, Housewives have always been good about tapping into that history and those flashbacks. And I think that is just so important. I think it gives it such a dimension. So I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, I do think after the camel ride and before, maybe during or after the volleyball match, I do think there was a little bit of what was going on. There wasn't a lot. I mean, I know essentially Luann and Dorinda do talk, and I do like that correspondence. But I felt like the note that I wrote was feels like we're watching raw footage. Like we gotta speed things up. It's like no one's really communicating. So I had a little bit of an issue, or I felt like there was a lull right at that moment.
It definitely, I agree with you. It felt like a story producer tapped Lou and Dorinda on the shoulder and were like, all right, go over here and have this conversation on this daybed. Because like they were like, okay, let's talk. And Dorinda still blaming Luann for saying that the night before that in the past, Dorinda really did get drunk. And this was a big problem. And everyone said, including Lou, like she just never said that. It wasn't anything that Lou did. I think it was all in Dorinda's head. But how do you argue with someone who's been drinking?
That was okay. So it was as if it didn't matter who was right or wrong. Dorinda just ate up the argument. Lou doesn't.
Yeah,
she's not good at sparring. And here's where Lou played it incorrectly. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to just go along to get along at the lunch, but then I'm randomly going to make it a point to talk to her after, the afternoon outing of going on the camels and playing volleyball or lunch or whatever the case. Like, it just felt like it was if you were going to say it, you might as well have said it in the morning. Like this whole waiting to have another conversation when you were the only two gals that were having the morning breakfast. It was felt misplaced. So to be honest, as much as I like Luann, I'm kind of glad she got ate up by Dorinda because she really didn't have a point of view at that point. So I was okay with it.
I mean, it's going to be part of a larger conversation coming up. Nobody can really have a one-on-one with Dorinda because, she just eats them whole, which is like, just lousy to do. But I mean, it makes for good TV.
Yeah, well, Leah definitely could probably grab her, so that should be interesting if they ever get into it. Now, here is what we see with Dorinda. She's done it notoriously. She will get on Bethany's side, so she never has to go toe-to-toe with her. I think what we're seeing, too, is Dorinda has always, Ramona, you shouldn't talk that way to Leah. I feel like Dorinda takes a very big caution to always find a way to make sure she doesn't have to go toe-to-toe.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
And so once that cracks, Leah, because she's younger, she'll be the one to be able to kind of out-argue her, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I see that happening definitely because Dorinda's always had that mutual respect for Leah. That was her kind of girl, so she spots her. I agree.
Well, hasn't she done that in the past? Like Dorinda's done that where she won't find an issue with Bethany because she knows Bethany will grab her.
Yep.
Snatch her right on up. I've seen Dorinda do that before, and I feel like she's definitely doing that with Leah, in my opinion.
Well, what did you make of this Sonia's birthday dinner? There's this, I don't know what the correct term is, but there's a shorter man running around with drinks on his head and a bottle. And it's a big public spectacle. I mean, these housewives, they come in, they take over the whole restaurant. To be damned to anybody else who wants to go in there, have a family dinner, a quiet night dinner, a date. Too bad because they completely take over the dancing. They're talking about their pussy height. Like, of the relation to the man with Luann's privates.
Oh, right. Yes. Well, Luann is a tall glass of water, so yes. he was right on height. I don't know if you agree with me on this. I think you do, but I like it when they could have a dinner that's really, really fun. I think this is the one franchise that's able to do that. I think I refer back to Bethany having a birthday. I think they were in the Hamptons at that moment. I think the only challenge at that time was that they showed up late, so that was kind of disrespectful. But other than that,
they always do.
Yeah, it was fun, and I don't know if the other shows can do this as much because in order to keep the show compelling, the other franchises you do have to have something going on. But these girls having fun is nice.
I agree. It was nice to actually see someone just have some fun, to be honest. Well,
especially since Dorinda's had such a hard time. Her going to put on the the fake boobs and having fun with Luann, it gave me a nice contrast. You get these really great moments where Sonia's, she's in the breasts of Dorinda. You've got just the most kooky, most self-involved Luann singing, which we love.
Was she in a poncho with Christmas lights? I mean, what the hell was she walking in with? Holding a speaker.
The normal human being would be nervous. We'd be embarrassed. We would never have the gall, Grant, to do this, but not our Luann. And you just think she can't outdo it, and she always outdoes herself
Oh
because
my
she
God.
really,
You're right. This was like the best of Luann this whole episode. We got her opposite in an argument. We got her singing. We got her having emotional conversations. Her past was brought up. Like, yeah, this was a great episode for Luann. We even got to see her in the hot bikini. I liked
yeah.
it. I liked it.
I
Now,
agree because I don't know if it was on your podcast or another one I was listening to, but it was along the concept of Luann's playing it safe, and why shouldn't she? Because she had some really hard seasons, the Tom seasons or whatever. But just because you play it safe, that's fine. You're protecting your story, and I think we've got to give some of the housewives credit for doing so many seasons, and they don't always have to be in the mud. But sometimes she doesn't show up. Like sometimes 7 different things are going on around her, and she doesn't even lend a point of view. And I think that's kind of what we started to see today on this last episode, is that she kind of started to be present, and we need her to do that because, again, what I love about Lou is her awkward stares, her goofy comments. Like Luann is like the picture perfect, like opulent woman. She's done great work, overseas as far as she was a television presenter before. She was a model, and she's so opulent, but then she's so cheesy too. And I really like it. And so I'm glad we saw that today.
well, in these last few minutes here, let's touch upon Ramona and Leah having a moment, they're bonding over not meeting their equals, and briefly talked about Mario, which I'm so over that storyline as well. But Ramona says, now I'm in my 60s, so what's next? So see, it really is about age for her. She's hell-bent on this age thing, and she's jealous of Leah and her youth and her body. And Ramona, the pictures posted from her at the reunion, Ramona looks great. Get out of your own way. Who cares?
Gotcha.
It's all about her. That's how I view it.
No, you might be right. I think you might be right. I never thought of it, but yeah, that makes sense.
So what else happened in these last few minutes? Ramona shames Leah. Now we go to the other side of things, for talking about her vagina. And, we proved Leah's theory right. If she can't talk about it the way that Sonia could talk about it, the minute she says something, Ramona's up out of the table. She storms out. It's so ridiculous. I just can't even get into it. There's really no difference here, but she claims that the difference is that she couldn't escape her own birthday party, but she can escape this one. So that's why, that's why she was so upset, because she couldn't control Leah at her own birthday. I mean, this is so stupid.
Well, so if Ramona had she had common sense. Her only real defense could have been, I don't know the girl, so I definitely don't want to be around the girl when she's messy. But she never actually said that. Therefore, it does look hypocritical that Sonia can do all these things and this new girl can't. You see what I mean? Like, you're allowed to be cool with your friends being messy because, you have a 20-year relationship with Sonia. So if she would have just said something along those lines, I think she has a little point going on, but she doesn't really make it about that. She really makes it about Leah can't do anything right. And then I can't defend that. Do you follow what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I see it.
Because I think the only reason I'm going to defend Ramona a tad in this situation is because I'll tell you, a lot of people really came on Ramona this season and loved Leah, but I don't know in people's regular lives they're so welcoming. You know what I mean? Like, you know how it is, Grant. I mean, you work on a project, somebody's brand new, they don't get to show their ass right away. Like, they do have to earn it a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. Well, now they're going to have to talk about it the next day. I'm like, oh, another sit-down conversation. But, at least they're going to address it. Let's get into our final thoughts, shall we?
Final thoughts.
What are your final thoughts of this episode?
Okay, final thoughts of this episode is I thought it had a lull. I really did. I try not to be too judgmental of this season because everyone really thinks this is the failing season, and it is a little bit. But
I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm entertained.
True, but I was going to credit you in a second, actually. I was going to say what the problem was with this season is that we're going from one group meeting to another group outing to another group trip to another, to Newport, to the Hamptons, to the Berkshires. Like, we need stories to develop. So if you want the season to continue to, to grow, or next season, I just wish that we can start seeing more. I always say I love that 6th character. You know how they always used to say at Sex and the City, it was the 4 gals, but the fifth character was the city. I want more New York.
Absolutely.
And I know you said that, and I just wholeheartedly agree with that opinion, that's one of the downfalls of this season. But it's still good. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this versus Beverly Hills, but that's a different story.
Oh, that's a totally different story. One of these shows is entertaining me, and the area code is 212, not 323 or 310. Who cares? Anyway, my final thought is, look, these are really like lousy times. So like, it was nice just to see some people go out, have fun, be crazy. You got to see some things, the beautiful beach and, the Campbells, if you're into that, but also like the party was fun, and Sonia genuinely enjoyed herself, and it was cool to kind of shine a light on her for a minute when it's always Luann and Ramona. It's always their show. So I appreciated it. So yeah, overall, I will give this episode a good B. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, B+. I'll go with.
Oh, very good. I think that's
only because
accurate.
I'm a big fan of Soñorita, and it was her birthday, so I have to favor a little bit more because I love the Sonia.
Yeah. All right, where can we find you, and how can we support you? What do you have going on? I know there's a lot of stuff being posted.
Yeah, randomlyronniejr.com. That's the website. Once again, randomlyronniejr.com, and that links to the YouTube and podcast channel, and it's been a lot of fun. And after September, after I turn 40 years old, because right now I'm only concentrating on my birthday, the Virgo that I am, but after my birthday, I'm going to get into another playlist, which is going to be much more of a pop culture thing, and it's going to be, quite often versus what I do now, which is just a once a week interview series. So I'm excited about it.
You're always changing, always evolving. I like it, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah, and I'm always swiping right and left on Grindr, so life is good, baby. Life is good.
Can you swipe on that?
I just made that up. I actually don't know. But I'm just trying to put it to the universe because, somebody may think I'm sexy, Grant. We always you got to do the work, buddy. You got to do the work.
All right, my friends. Thank you for joining me. And thank you guys for listening. But the show is 30 minutes or less as always. So thank you for checking it out and supporting me and the podcast more than anything. My thanks to Ronnie Jr. And we'll be back with more rants and more rundowns right here on the podcast.
This has been Grant's Rant Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown. Want more? Join the full conversation on Grant's Rant Hollywood Talk podcast.